Hello everybody and welcome to a new live stream. Today I'm going to play for you two tables at NL25 Zoom. Today I feel a bit better. It's not like I'm dying any moment like yesterday. So let's see. I hope it's going to be a bit more entertaining and good luck to us for the session. 10-3 off is gonna be a fold king 5 offsuit as well, not a hand I am gonna play. Queen 7 suited on table 1. UTG opens, I think, is some kind of recreational player, so I would normally call. Another guy calls. Pretty close when there are a raiser and a caller. Still, I'm gonna call it and have some edge post flop, so I'm gonna go for the call, but this flop is quite terrible, so it is now just a check fold. Table 2 we fold with queen 6 offsuit, and jack 4 off also. We go for the fold. 4-3 off, another fold here. And we have finally king ace, which is definitely a playable hand. We are going to 3-bet if any of our opponent raises, and this guy raises, he's a regular. We are going to raise and shove if he 4-bets. Quite standard, frankly, versus a cutoff, especially if he's a regular, obviously. He folds, and that's it. On table 1, we do raise with 8-10 suited. The bottom 3-bets we are gonna have to fold. Deuce 3 offsuit on table 2 is going to be a fold, and king 8 off also is this. We have kings on table 2. And queen 10 suited on table 1. Queen 10. Okay, see the kings. If we are going to be able to make this 3-bet, yes we are. So we make it standard 3x and ready to shove if our opponent 4-bets. Not the best flop ever, because it's gonna be difficult to get value. Well, it depends on our opponent, honestly, and I have no info on this guy, so I'm just gonna check. I mean, bet small, but not. Keep firing on this turn is quite standard. He bets. Should he slow play? I would say sometimes yes, having 2 kings. I would say it's okay to slow play this. River is fine. Should we raise for team value? I would say yes. He can have sets and stuff. Sometimes, of course, we're going to get stacked if he had a flush or a straight, but it's not very likely. And with top set, I think we should shove. He may bluff catch sometimes, given the way we play this hand also. So let's see. I think it's important to do this kind of thin shoves. If he has something like 7s or jacks, it's gonna be in a tough spot here. Well, nope. This time we lose the maximum, which is okay. It happens. Still think the shove is the best choice, given the line he took. Ace queen, we are going to bet on the flop. And I'm going to keep firing, I would say, on this turn, given our opponent is a recreational player. Free fire again. I mean, our keycard plays, so I think if he checks, we should definitely bet. If he bets, it's gonna suck a bit, especially because we have the Queen of Hearts, but if he bets big, I don't think he's ever bluffing enough. Once he checks, I am going for team value. Okay, table 2, we do 3-bet, and this flop hits. Versus a recreational, it's gonna be close. I would say checking is fine. I don't see him folding much on a board like this. Lower bets, well, we are gonna fold. Just let me open the chat. Okay. I'm gonna now see it, hopefully. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Oops. Ace Jack. We do raise. And you've got 3 bets. I would say calling is okay in blind versus an aggressive regular. That's a nice flop. If you have an aggressive flow with someone, check raising, I would say it is still profitable. Otherwise, check calling is more standard. I'm gonna check raise this time to check on the turn. I want to have this kind of range in my lines to be able to check raise here and check call on the turn, basically. And on table 2, we just raise with queen 10 offsuit and he folds, which is okay. Jack 8 on table 2. We are gonna open depending on the table, but it's fine on these tables. Queen 4 suited. This guy raises. He is a recreational. I am gonna call. Check raising, I would say, is an option with a double backdoor, and he's probably gonna bet a bit mindlessly here. But he likes it. We don't. Easy fold for us. And jack off. It's gonna be a fold. Ace 4 suited on table 2. And definitely 3-bet. I don't know this guy. If I knew he's a regular, of course, even shoving as a bluff, as a 5-bet would be an option if he 4-bet. He doesn't. We have a call from a big blind, from the small blind, who is quite of a sticky player. So I am just gonna check back this, hoping to hit something, which is gonna be difficult. We have a gut shot, pretty bad gut shot to be honest. So just a fold. On table 1, we can 3-bet in position versus a recreational. He calls. We have decent blockers here to see bet. We can keep firing on decent amount of runouts. No need. He folds. We take it. Jack deuce off is gonna be a fold. Doesn't matter what happens. Ace 5. Not a great card, I would say. Pocket jacks. And pocket 9s on the other table, so we are gonna see what gets more fun to be seen. We 3-bet with the jacks. This guy calls, no surprises. I am going to bet on the flop. Something like this. Versus a bad player, I would say it is standard. Gonna keep firing, and I'm gonna tin shove on many rivers. Check shove also is an option. I like both. I'll go with the check shove this time. He is somewhat aggressive to be a recreational. The river sucks, obviously. We have to check, and calling is an option. I mean, of course, he can have an ace, but he can also have a decent amount of busted draws. So I feel like I have to call. I'm not happy, of course, the river sucks, but I think we have to. And he has a busted draw, but even an ace, which is not the best. On table 2 instead, we are going to keep firing on this turn. It's okay. See what he does. Checking also is fine. The king of the river is sweet. I think we have another team value bet here. Let's hope this one works. It's gonna be painful when he has tens and jacks. It's gonna be very nice when he calls us with ace high or eights or sixes or stuff like this. Ace high, so this time our team value bet worked. E9 suited, we do open. Five, 7 off, queen 3 offsuit. Queen 5, 7, 8, 4, 7 off. Nope. Some trash hands here and there. Ace 9 and 5, 6 suited. We do open with 5, 6. Okay. We are going to 3-bet now with ace 10 off on table 1. When the recreational player opens, he's playing 27-13, so quite loose passive. And on table 2, we can call, we can raise. When our opponent makes it 2x, it makes it easier for us to check call. And that's a nice flop. We can check call, we can check raise. I like both lines, to be honest. This time I am going to check call. We will sometimes check raise on the turn when the turn is a spade, for example. I would like it. The jack also is a nice turn. I wouldn't check raise this because having the ace of spades, it's not ideal to get value from something worse than our hand when you check raise. But definitely we are strong enough to check call here and probably on the river as well. On the river we have a nice blocker. I mean, having the ace of spades is sweet. Doesn't bluff, so doesn't change much. On table 1, I check. It was checked through until the river ace high, I would say, sometimes wins, and this time it wins. It's okay then. Queen 8 off is going to be a fold. Jack 9 off, depending on the blind, could be an open or a fold. This time I'm gonna raise, but it's close. We can put it in both ranges, to be honest. Okay, we are going to bet sometimes this board. This time I am going to bet it. We have decent blockers, we have decent cards to fire on multiple streets, so it's a nice hand to bet on the flop. If he raises, I would say folding is fine, unless we have some extra read. The turn 5 of clubs is quite bad. It fits quite well with what he is check calling on the flop. I'm just gonna check back. If the river is a heart, I might sometimes bluff, but let's see. It is a heart indeed. Not nice that it's a 5, but still, if he checks, I'm going to bluff. If he bets, would I ever raise? Maybe. Let's do this. I think is enough for him to fold some mid-value hands. Or at least king, ace high, stuff like this. If he's a good player, he could sometimes check raise a 3 on the deuce. He has 8s, which was a decent bluff catcher, depending on my image. 10-7 on table 2. We are going to raise. We flop literally nothing, and I am going to check call the flop. Literally nothing. I mean, no, it was literally nothing awesome, but yeah, I would say check calling was fine. I will check on the turn as well. I will check call with showdown value and an okay blocker. The river is not great, obviously. I don't have a lot of history with this guy. I don't know if he would bet the flop with, on the flop with a queen enough, so I'm just gonna give him credit for it. And on table 1, I am going to check back this hand I 3-bet in position versus a recreational player. I might start betting for value on the turn. He bets. I'm gonna call one straight for sure. Then we are going to reevaluate on the river depending on what he does. I don't think if he bets big, he's bluffing enough, so I'm just gonna fold. He bets about half the pot. Is he bluffing enough, often enough? I'm not sure about that. It's not a size that they use that much, or a line that uses much. I'm just gonna fold. It's gonna be close, but yeah, not super ideal. Nice. On table 2, we have 5-7 suited. We could have check raise on the flop, and I am going to start betting on the turn when this guy checked back. Unluckily, he has nothing, but that's fine. On table 1, we open with ace jack. This flop hits versus a bad player. I might see bet still with a wide range. He calls. The turn is a 10 of hearts, which is we have pretty decent blockers for this one, and I'm gonna bet here and possibly on the river as well. No need to bet on the river. 4 jack suited and 10 jack offsuit. 4 jack, we are gonna fold. 10 jack off. Let's see what we are gonna do with this, and I am gonna call versus the button open. Probably check folding here. If I had a club, I would sometimes check raise. Given our opponent is a recreational, I'm just gonna let it. I could also have called, to be honest, but yeah, I didn't see the sizing. In time, ace 8 suited. Could be a 3-bet position if nobody anticipate me, and they don't. So we do 3-bet in position, ace 8 suited versus this guy who I don't know, which usually means he's a recreational player, but who knows? Flop at a pair, I would probably c-bet on the flop and then check back on the turn at a decent frequency, and okay, he folds, so nothing interesting happening there. 8-9 off, we fold. 6-8 off, we do fold as well. Ace deuce, gonna be a fold. King 9 off. King jack, raise versus like from UTG +1 or MP. This guy 3-bets. It's just gonna be a fold out of position. King 10 and 10 deuce. Okay. See the time. Okay. No, so the time. Ace 3. Might 3-bet if the cutoff raises. It's pretty loose, and we are deep stack with a hand which can make some nice nut, so we are definitely going to 3-bet and even call a 4-bet. Not happening this time. Ace jack suited, we still 3-bet, and we're still gonna call a 4-bet with this. I mean, it would be close. I mean, this guy's not super aggressive. I think maybe actually, unless he makes it very small, it's probably best just to fold, because his 3-bet is 4. I don't think he's 4-betting much more than that, so would be okay also to fold in position. 4-7 suited, we call. Not gonna be able to do much on this flop. If you think he's a bad player, betting of course is a nice option. If he checks on the turn, I'm gonna start bluffing anyway with 7 high, but it does not. And on table 2 with ace 10 suited, we have a nice 3-bet versus somebody who looks like a recreational player. We are playing deep stack. We have a hand again which can make some nice nuts. So we definitely like to give ourselves an option to make it nice. Fold a bit here and there. Jack 3 suited and Jack 10. I'm gonna open with Jack 10 on a table which came out pretty nice. On table 1, sometimes I 3-bet as a bluff hands like this. Versus regulars, of course. I wouldn't do that versus a recreational that I know he would call me way too much and not 4-bet at all. Okay, this flop hits. We have a couple of interesting backdoors. I'm gonna start with a bet on the flop. We'll continue if the turn is nice. We don't fold, so that's okay. Queen 10 suited. It's a okay hand to 3-bet in position. We're not gonna call a 4-bet from this guy, who looks quite passive pre-flop, and we are going to 3-bet kings on table 2. He calls, the flop is nice. We are going to bet not ultra small versus recreational. We are going to bet something like 9. He folds, unluckily, but it is what it is. Check deuce, we'll let it go. Check 8 also. King jack offsuit. Could be a 3-bet, could be a call, depending on the action. Well, we have a limp. And I'm going to raise versus a limp for value. Aces, we try to ISO, and we succeed in isolating ourselves. We are going to c-bet on this flop. There are some draws. If he has a queen, of course, he's not going to fold. 3 is great still. I'm going to bet bigger size on the turn. If he raises, it would have been a fold, given how the average bet player plays. Kings again on table 2. Let's see if we can get some action this time. We have a 3-bet we're going to call for, but we have some kind of aggressive history with this guy, so I can expect him to shove not ultra tight, even with the original razor, but of course we're not folding this pre-flop, so doesn't matter much who does what. He calls, and we are going to bet the flop on a board like this without the club. I would have checked sometimes with the king of clubs. Yes, it's not the best start ever. Doesn't mean that we are losing this one. We block ace king, okay, that's fine. We don't block ace queen, which is bad. I'm gonna check this, and if he checks back, we may do some team value bet on the river. If he bets, it's going to be a bit nasty here. Okay. Can we ever team value bet? I would say yes. Bet folding, I would say, is quite safe in this pool. We get value from queens and some jack X. I don't think he's shoving as a bluff often enough. So I would say bet folding here is okay in general. He shoves. It's interesting, but I think, again, as I said, I don't think he's bluffing enough. Plus, we block some of his potential bluffs, so I am just gonna fold this. I don't think there is profit here in calling this hand. Table 1, we check and call. Not the best turn. Table 2, we do raise with ace-8 suited. Table 1, we jack suited. Okay, that's a nice flop. I'm gonna bet the flop versus this guy. I think it's gonna float a lot. I'm gonna check turn and sometimes check raise versus a bet player. Unluckily, he doesn't do much. I'm gonna bet small, hoping he tries something with a busted draw, stuff like this. I don't think he's gonna bet himself the high frequency. As played, this is obviously a bet call. He had pocket sevens, so we got some value there. We have 6-7 suited. That's an interesting flop. We can play it in many different ways. I don't mind check raising this time. He checks back. The pool doesn't check back enough. with draws and stuff, so I'm going to try to bluff this with 7 high. If he raises, it's not a big problem because our hand now is much worse than it was before. Queen of Diamonds is really a bad card for many reasons. Table 1, we try to win the pot on the flop, and we succeed, which is nice. Queen 8 offsuit on table 2. It's gonna be a fold. Queen 9 as well. Nine 8 on table 2. Gonna be a fold. Ace King on table 2, we are going to 3-bet for sure. Gonna shove even to a cold 4-bet from a competent player. No, they all fold. We open with Ace 4 suited on table 1. Big blind calls, not a nice flop. I don't know him. Assuming he's a bad player, I will c-bet this at a high frequency. The 10 is a terrible turn as well. Today we're not a bit lucky with turns. We've seen a lot of bad ones. And gonna just fold, of course. Let's get that. Fold. Table 2, we raise with pocket fours. And versus a raiser and a caller, we're just gonna check back on this flop. They both check again. I don't mind betting, but not gonna happen this time. King 8 suited on table 2. Gonna be a fold. 6-5. Definitely a raise. Pre-flop. They both fold, which is okay. Pocket deuces. We call versus the button a raise. Not the best flop, to be honest. Check. Could be a check raise sometimes as a bluff versus an unknown player. He calls and the turn is quite bad, so we're just going to give up. On table 1, we do squeeze with King 9 suited versus a recreational raising and another one calling. It's an okay flop, given the blockers we have. I am going to bet on the flop. Default, which is okay. Table 2. To raise. And we have ace queen on table 1. We do open, could be a 4-bet sometimes versus some players. This flop hits. I don't mind checking back a hand like this one. Villain bet could be a call. Still close, but I don't mind it. The river is okay. We lose to some hands, we win to others. We have a regular bluff catcher. I'm just gonna call. He had a nut flush on the flop, so we could have had a better timing, I would say. Table 2, we have ace deuce, we do ace 8 suited, we do raise. This guy calls, we are gonna c-bet on the flop. Fold to raise. And he does raise, so we just fold. Table 1, we open jacks on the flop. Guy 3-bets, we don't have a lot of history. I would say calling here is the most standard line. Flop is obviously sweet. I'm gonna check call. We don't have enough history for me to check raise this one and hope to get any kind of value. Check call also is the most standard line here, obviously. He bets. We call. Check shoving here is an option though, because we might have some hands which do make this kind of bluff. And here, if he bets again, we might want to check shove as a 14 value. It's an option. Sometimes we're going to get owned when he has ace queen, ace king of diamonds, but not this time. We're gonna bet on table 2 this flop with 2 recreational players. The guy had in the previous hand ace queen, who didn't bluff, unluckily. I'm gonna keep fighting on the turn versus a calling station, who unluckily folds this time. Hi, enjoying the session. Hello, but so. We weren't super lucky, I would say so far, but let's see. Still have some time. Table 2, I am gonna open. In table 1 instead we have a flush draw. I would sometimes check call, sometimes check raise. This time we go for the check raise. He checks back, this turn hits. I am going to bet small and maybe be polarized on the river. Nope. Nope. Table 1, we do raise with jack 9 suited. Big blind, the recreational player calls, is playing with 28 VPIP and 1% PFR. We are going to bet this flop with a couple of backdoors. We will keep firing on a decent amount of runouts. The 4 is not the best. We're gonna check back and we'll bluff this river, obviously. No need to make it huge. We're trying him to fold 6, 7x, stuff like this. I don't think we need to make it bigger than that. And he just folds, which is nice. For 7 off, we check. Both check. I'm gonna try to win this right now with a bet with 7 high. If they raise out of position, I'm just gonna fold anyway. We're not losing much on a board like this. I'm gonna still bluff on the river. Small sizing. We're trying him to fold 8, 9, king 9, queen 9, king queen, stuff like this that he all plays. So we don't need to make it huge when you're trying to find a fold from a air hand from a recreational player. Our sizes could be quite unbalanced and doesn't matter much. Table 2 with 3-bet with ace queen off, villain calls. That's a flop that I don't mind betting given the blockers we have. If he check raises, we are going to hate the life a bit, but I don't think I would have folded. Anyway, no need to think about that when he folds. Ace 6 offsuit. We are gonna call. In this blind versus blind scenario, this guy checks. We could check, we could bet. I don't hate checking with no kicker. Turn could be obviously better. Should we bet, should we check? I don't mind betting. checking also, I would say, something we should do time to time. We go on table 1, where we 3-bet with queen jack suited and get a fold from our opponent, which is okay, I would say. Fold this one instead. Ace is on table 1. UTG opens, which is usually a good news. Recreational player 3-bets is pretty short. I'm tempted to just call, because if this guy has something now, he will probably raise himself, and if I 4-bet, this guy is being short, I'm not gonna maximize this. And now we are ready to just shove, and I guess we got as much as we could in this hand. We couldn't get more than this. Whoa! Even the short guy couldn't get much better than this. At least we won something. Oh my god. Oh, MG. Too bad. The trap worked, but at the end, board had another opinion. Ace 10, we do a raise from the cutoff. Regular, I'm gonna check back this flop. We really missed it badly. Could sometimes bluff on the turn given we have a club, but would be still okay to check back more often than not. Table 1, we do open with ace deuce suited, and we get a call from the small blind. And a squeeze. Sometimes 4-betting is fine, sometimes folding is fine. Queen jack on table 2. We do raise. I will bet versus a bad player. I would check more often versus a regular. He calls, the 6 hits. Not the nose on card. Just gonna check back. River is a blank. Could I ever call here if you bet? Nah. Would be way too much. Table 1, we call from the big blind versus the UTG recreational player. We are gonna check call this flop for sure. Not going anywhere on a turn like this, but given also the blockage we have, we are gonna fold on the river if he fires a triple barrel. Checks back, I'm gonna check, and if he bets, we may consider raising sometimes, making him fold his ace-x kind of hand. I don't mind this. Should make it very big though. Hoping he is able to fold an ace. Apparently, well, he's not gonna fold 2 aces for sure. Oh boy. Oh boy. Table 1, we are going to 3-bet with pocket tens. Gonna call a 4-bet from a player like this. There is no 4-bet though, so nothing. Yeah, the mind raise with king 4 there because the pattern he took, bet check bet, was quite common with an ace. And if you make it big, they can sometimes fold. It was close. Queens, so we go for a 3-bet here. Also queen 10 with the same player though. Let's see. He folded on where we had queens. Because this time the flop is not too ugly. I would sometimes bet, sometimes check versus some kind of regular. This time I am going to check. Check call is fine. King hits, which is okay. We start betting here with decent blockers that we have. He folds, and that's okay. Table 2, we bet on the flop versus a recreational player. Gonna have some calls, but we're gonna have some multiple battles sometimes, depending on the run out. Hey bro, got any general tips for escaping the micro stakes? I would say, well, there are many ways you can fuck it up. What's something a lot of players who cannot go out with the micros, what something wrong they're doing is not value betting enough. You're playing a stake in which they usually do not raise that much turn and river, which means that you can value bet more lightly turn and river because you're not going to get raised this much. So that's something you should definitely do. And also something I suggest is, for the same reason, when they raise your turn and river, unless you have a read or something, just fold, 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 fold. Even very nice hands because, you know, again, they might be bluffing you sometimes. They're not gonna bluff you enough. So if you have bluff catcher, the rule is if you're not bluffing enough, your bluff catcher is a fold. And keep in mind, I didn't say if he never bluffs, because nobody never bluffs. But it's about probabilities, and it's very likely that turn and river, they don't raise you enough. So if you overfold in those situations, well, you're probably gonna make the smart move. On table 2, I am gonna sometimes donk bet here. It's a board which, of course, fits pretty well with my range, and we need protection, and he folds, which is nice. On table 1, instead we are versus 2 recreationals. I'm gonna bet first in value on the flop. We're gonna raise if somebody raises us. Stun is tricky. I would say a small bet could still make sense. We still get some kind of value from some hands. And we build a bit the pot for when their diamond hits and is a good card. I don't expect them to raise much as a bluff. They both fold, which is, of course, the best result for us. Table 2, we open with pocket fours. We get a couple of calls, and I'm not gonna bet this board. In a 3-way pot would be an option, of course. I will try on the turn if this guy checks again, because we're never gonna win this hand, and they might just give up if they didn't like the hand so far. And they know we can have kings, queens, stuff like this, so I don't mind betting this. If this guy raises, it's very likely he had a king, but no, he does not. It's very important to also get those spots in which it's quite obvious nobody has anything, and it's a shame to let those spots go. We're gonna check this turn. Maybe win sometimes at the river with showdown. Unlikely, but possible, so we're gonna try. And we do. King, queen. I don't mind 3-betting this versus a bad player. Maybe being deep stack, I would call a bit more than not. Because it's a hand, of course, which is very problematic when it's dominated. This will hit. I'm gonna check raise or check call. Are both lines I would consider taking here. Checks back. This turn hits. It's not the best, of course, not the worst. I'm gonna bet small this time. Ace-3 offsuit. I am going to raise that if nobody else does before me. Ace-9 suited, we do raise from the small blind. It's a nice flop. We can do many things. I don't mind check raising versus a regular. I think it's a regular actually, I'm not super sure. And I'm gonna bet small on the turn. Could raise some bluff here, this guy, as I played. I'm gonna call to this sizing, obviously. The river is terrible. Gonna check fold. Anyway, if he was raising for info or freezing the action, of course he would check back the river, as I did actually, so we win sometimes. Let's see what he had so I can understand better what kind of pair he is. Okay, I think it's a regression now. He had a6 offsuit with nothing else, so, and he didn't bluff this nice river to bluff. So I think he's a recreational player. I'll put a label. Appreciate it. You're welcome. You're welcome. If you or anybody else has any questions about playing, feel free to ask. For who doesn't know me, I give you a bit of background. I am a former professional poker player. I played professionally from 2010 to 2021, pretty much. Well, 2011 to 2021. Here we're gonna call. Then I chose to dedicate my time mainly to my poker school that I have in Italy, which is named Ikshov. Checking back here is fine. And now I'm still playing. I mean, I'm still playing time to time, various stakes. As you see, I'm playing also lower stakes with the purpose of entertaining mainly. Can we think value bet here? I would say yes, we're still a bad player. I think betting something like this is gonna get us some calls from 10x, 9x, stuff like this. He's not gonna raise enough. Not even 8s he raises, so so that's sweet in a way. This guy checks. We are gonna try to win this, hoping nobody hit us a jack, which is the only way they are gonna call us. Nope, they didn't. That's nice. Queen 10 suited. We open on table 2. Okay. King jack off. Okay, 3-9. Couple of broken hands. Queen 5 suited. We do check. Gonna bet the flop versus a recreational player here. He has an ultra wide range, obviously. I don't mind betting small here. We block the action sometimes, which is nice. If he raises, we can call, obviously, with decent amount of equity. And on a river like this, it's super important that you just don't check, because if he has a straight, he's gonna check back because he's gonna be scared about the flush. So it's really important when you bet call on the turn with a draw versus a bet player, and you hit that draw, just lead out on the river, because they get scared easily and they are gonna make really insane some check back, which are really insane. So you really want to lead out, because if not, you're gonna lose a lot of value. Couple of trash hands. We are gonna. This guy limps, which is a typical from him. I think it's the first time I've seen this guy over 1k hand win this. Gonna check back. It's quite suspicious, obviously. He checks. Gonna check back. Plate in a chilled way. If you were bet, probably had something super strong who was just trying to make something fancy. Once he checks twice, I start thinking maybe we have some value to get. Yep. Do raise with 10-9 off. Okay, I would mix it. Sometimes bet, sometimes check. This time we go for the check and protect our checking back range. We're definitely gonna call if he bets. He doesn't. Should we check? Should we bet? It's close. I would say if I had a better kicker, I would definitely bet. With this one, I would probably go more for a check. The river is obviously a very good river, and I am going to bet big here for something value. King Queen on table 2. We do open, and we are ready to call a 3-bet, which doesn't happen. Luckily or unluckily. Check 6. 5-9. King 8. Jack Ace. Decent hand sometimes to call 4-bet or to 3-bet. It's marginal versus UTG. I would say you can also not do it versus UTG, depending on the pool you're playing in. And your opponent, obviously. Jack 10 suited, we do raise from UTG. And see what we get. We get the blinds, which is fine. Ace then on table 2. Are we going to 3-bet? Probably. Okay, this guy 3-bets. I don't know him. If I knew he's a regular, I would call 4-bet sometimes. But with zero info, I prefer to just fold. If he's a recreational, he's definitely not going to 3-bet enough there. And we are just going to burn our money by call for betting. Ace 10, we raise UTG. And we also have Ace Jack on table 2, which is going to be a 3-bet from the small, from the big line sometimes. Yeah, this guy's probably a recreational player, given the sizing he chose. I'm still going for a 3-bet because if he 4-bets, we are going to save a lot of money because we are going to avoid being dominated quite a bit. This flop hits quite blank. I'm going to bet the flop and then continue on some runouts. The problem of Ace Jack is that we lose to Ace Queen and Ace King, so we have less showdown value than we would normally have. The 10 of Spades gives us a decent blocker for keep firing here. So I'm going to bet. We are gonna shove some rivers, of course. But he shoves here, so nope, we are not gonna do that. I'll say it's okay to keep firing there on the spade. Not the best timing though. Queen Ace. We are gonna 3-bet. Versus a regular, we could also think about shoving. If you 4-bets in this dynamic, it's quite standard. Aces, can you get paid? Maybe. Sometimes. Bet the flop. Nope, we get paid 3 blinds. Well, okay. Better than nothing. Better than losing a stack. Ace 5 off on table 2. Okay. King Jack. We do 3-bet. Versus a recreational player who calls. This flop hits. We're gonna bet the flop. Gonna keep fighting just on high turns, like 10 queen. Stuff like this. I'm not gonna keep fighting on the 9. It's close, but still. Gonna fold. I don't think he's bluffing enough, nor gonna bet fold that much. Ace 10. Could definitely get 3-bet. This guy opens. Doesn't. Ace 7. We do raise. We flop a 2 pair versus a bad player. We are gonna bet and bet big. Unluckily, he doesn't have much on table 1. We have a nice flush thrown out. So we are going to c-bet. We are going to call a raise even if you're not super happy that the board is paired, but he shouldn't have queens or 10s. He might have queen 10, obviously, but still, we are going to bet call. 10-9 suited on table 2. We do raise from the cutoff. Let's get 3 bets. I would say calling is okay. This board is worth a float at least, given we have a double backdoor and 2 uppercards to the second pair. That's gonna be interesting now. We block some of the jacks he could have. Well, 10 jack we block, basically. If he keeps firing, can we ever shove? Well, sometimes. We make him fold this queen is king, which he could sometimes rebet again. So just gonna shove here. It's gonna be sick if he calls with his king is queen. It's possible, but I don't think he's gonna do it on average, and he does not. I mean, you see, for example, in this spot, our shove is not that he was wrapping too much, but you know, I don't expect them to make the huge hero call with his king is queen. So I would say, still doesn't matter if you think he has enough bluffs, and he's gonna bet fold. Well, doesn't matter if you cannot have much value there. That's something we should be way more aware on the higher stakes, because in the higher stakes or versus a very strong player, in that situation, either we do not shove, or we start shoving with pocket tens, nines, stuff like this, in addition to our draws, and sometimes the jack, of course. What I want to say is, you know, we need to care if a line is balanced only if it really matters in this situation. Here I'm going to ISO with pocket sevens, trying to play this heads up pot with 4-11 blinds. 4 blinds, I mean. It's fine. This guy 3 bets is gonna be very 4 bets to the being very sick, but he has tens, so I don't think we're gonna be lucky here. And it was just 4 blinds, so who cares? We 3 bet with the king jack. This guy keeps shoving. Let's see if we manage to have a better outcome this time. Table 1. Sometimes we are gonna check. Let's see this board in the meantime. Oh, probably not. Oh boy, this guy is gonna double up on us forever. I bet the flop this time. You could check as well, but we still get value from some things that you could have. Especially when you go for this sizing. We block ace jack. We shouldn't have queens and kings. Tens could be part of his range, obviously. This is possibly the worst turn which could hit. I'm gonna check and probably fold unless he makes it 10. It sucks, but I really don't see him having less than what we have, and we have just a couple of outs. But 13, I think 13 I have to call. To be honest, I might also bluff a 10 or a queen. with these blockers. I said it, and I will. Think he will fold a flush or a straight. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was a sick bluff, guys. That was a sick one. Like it. Ace queen on table 2. We are gonna 3-bet. We do fold here and move on with the queen jack. Queen 10, we do call. We are gonna check call a very small bet or check fold. He checks back. I don't mind bluffing this at this point. It's gonna fold sometimes, and he does this one. Table 1, we do raise with ace 6. We're gonna call in position versus a bet. His 3-bet is 3%. Even if we are deep stack, we're not that deep stack to try to hit something awesome with a guy that tight. Just gonna fold. 3% is already too narrow. Queen 10. We do raise. Queen 8 offsuit, so we are gonna raise. Versus this blind, yes, it's not a standard raise, but it's gonna be a raise. C-bet flop. You might fold sometimes here, given he's short. When they're this short, they fold a lot on the turn because they realize they're going to get stacked. So I like to fire a lot of multiple barrels to them. At least a couple. Ace 8 suited, we do 3-bet, and that's fine. Pocket 8s, we raise. Pocket uses. Gonna call here given they are both deep stack, the price I receive is nice, and they're probably both recreational players, so let's hope for a nice flop. Well, it's an okay flop, wouldn't call it nice. Let's see if you can see a cheap turn. Thank you for the good luck, Sus. I think the pool is not super tough, to be honest. I'm gonna call the first bet if nobody does anything. I mean, I think this guy's gonna slow down on the turn, so we're probably gonna be able to see 2 more cards, meaning I don't hate calling this one. Let's see if our plan goes through. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Let's see. Well, the guy did slow down, but problem was the other player. But in the pool, there are a lot of recreational players. Of course, being a Zoom pool and they're playing tight, the variance might be a bit high in general. Your big blind, I mean, the variance is not high, but the big blinds per 100 are lower as a consequence that your opponents are going to play tighter, the bad ones. So you need to be aware that you're going to swing a bit. Here I'm going to call because this guy behind me is a station, and I hope he calls and that we get to see something nice. I hoped for something nicer, to be honest. I'll check back and see what this guy does. Okay. So I don't think this guy's gonna bluff this much. So I'm gonna fold if he bets, because even if he has a bluff, he's probably have a high equity bluff, stuff like ace king, ace queen with a club. And I don't want to play this hand, especially when I have some guy behind me. So I'm just gonna fold. Okay. King jack. Gonna 3-bet it sometimes. Okay. We have queens. We're gonna raise and get it in blind versus blind if this guy is willing to. Nope, not willing to. Table 1, we are going to check the flop. We're gonna check all the turn, probably. I think this guy is betting with a very wide range so far. Of course, if this guy raises, he definitely has. It really sucks because Jack Wing got there and we don't get really any more value. And unluckily, he had a better kicker, but it happens. Ace 5, that's nice, and versus a calling station, I'm going to check raise all day long. He's not gonna fold any ace if he has one. Once he checks, we are just gonna bet big turn and or river. If he raises here, it's pretty close. He doesn't, luckily, because it would have been a nightmare spot. I'm gonna sit out, guys, next big blind. Time for me to cook something. Table 2. We are gonna do many things. Gonna check all this time. Okay, gonna start some small thin value bet. The river is ugly as it gets. Gonna check and check fold. Yeah. Ace check. We do 3-bet. Ace 10 off as well. Versus call instant. Nice nickname. He calls here, and if not so instant, he's a recreational player. I'm going to value bet. You might have 3 streets of value. The Ten of Hearts could also check sometimes here. Okay, the river is nice. If he has any ace, he's gonna pay us, of course. And the 10 blocks the flush. So I don't think I'm gonna fold if he bets. I hate seeing him shoving though. It really sucks. The main issue is that I'm not sure he would play ace deuce this way. He could definitely play this way 7-8 or a flush or a full house. I think we have to fold here. It sucks, but okay, not the luckiest session to be honest, but it was a fun one. I think I played nicely. Some spots were close, some spots were very nice, and I'm quite satisfied overall about my game in this session. We lost about one stack, nothing extraordinary. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and see you next time. Bye!